how your childhood was, and I'm sure that's very different to like probably my childhood or most of the Indian childhood, right? So I want to know about your childhood.
So I would say that the biggest difference in my childhood is how early my parents gave up. And what I mean by that is since I was really young, and honestly, when I learned about colonialism, it really shook me when I learned about how my family was involved in the movement of education against British propaganda. I started to understand that this was our legacy. And when I think about my grandparents, Pavan, one of our mentors, what he's really made me realize is when I think about my grandparents, they had to focus on roti, kapda, makan, getting food, housing, shelter. And then my parents had to focus on getting education. And then now it's my turn. And I realized that my turn should go much further than that. And that is where a lot of this drive came from, because I can and therefore I should. And that is what our whole Milan network is made up of, people who can and therefore decide that they should. And when I would say in school, I did pretty badly up until maybe 9th or 10th standard. That was because the education system really not pretty, to put it nicely. And it really made me feel...
So you did your schooling here in Bangalore?
All of my schooling in Bangalore. I was in Kumarans, and then I went to Sri Sri Ravi Shankar Vidya Mandir. And then for 11th and 12th, I did Christ Junior College, PUC, Humanities. So I remember my mom and I going to apply for science in Christ Junior College. And when we were waiting in the line, it was a really long line. I just snuck off to Humanities, and then I applied. I got an interview, which my dad went to look for me and found me there. And then I went to my mom and I was like, can I please do this? And I think that was one of the formational moments in my career path where my mom was like, wow, she went through all this trouble. I guess I can't really say no, no matter what, people are always going to criticize. So I just got to take up political science, psychology, economics, and sociology. And I think the real changing point for me was when I did Model UN, because Model UN really gave me a voice to start to look at problems critically, to start to feel like, hey, we are more than capable of looking at these issues and solving them. And like I tell a lot of people when I talk about Model Young Professionals, the problem with Model UN in India is we know how to solve problems for every other country. And it's not cool to be India in a Model UN. So we wanted to create a very localized version where students could really address the problems of the world around them. And if we did that from a young age, just like we thought from a young age, this country is so cool, we would want to work here, we want to work in the UN, they realize wow, we can really be social entrepreneurs and change the world around us rather than ever having to go anywhere else. So that being said, at the same time, my dad was director of National Entrepreneurship Network. And because of that, I got exposure to a lot of social entrepreneurship. And he would just, during my breaks, he would just send me off and be like, go work for this person, be productive.
This is during your undergrad days?
This is during my 11th and 12th.
11th and 12th.
So 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th.
So in your 11th and 12th, your dad kind of asked you to go and work for the startups who are working in the social impact space.
Exactly. And I think that he knew I was also motivated to do that. And my work with Shobha Managoli also really exposed me to the issues that rural people have when they come to urban areas, and just how different groups are in India, but how similar we all are, and therefore the need to come together in those similarities to really accentuate what our differences can do for the whole community. So I worked for multiple social startups, from Rang De to Your Story to Citizen Matters to marketing startups like Desire. And they really gave me exposure to, wow, there's a real world outside of school. And I think that was the biggest thing, is I found out learning could not only be fun, it could be really interesting.